是問誰還未發聲，都寫我企誰為我成。天上有權，還有心可作決，誰要認命噤聲？
試問誰能未覺醒？聽真那自由在奏鳴，驚喜在難違背的那份良知和應。
Hi there, and thanks for listening. If you're enjoying our podcast and have a recommendation about someone you think we should have on to share their voice and journey with the world, by all means, let us know. It could be an aid worker, monastic, author, journalist, doctor, resistance leader, really anyone with some tie or another to the ongoing situation in Myanmar or anything related to its history or culture. To offer up a name, go to our website, insightmyanmar.org, and let us know. But for now, just sit back and take a listen to today's episode.
My name is Koreeyor Manuchae. Was born in Deep South Thailand, Thai-Malaysia border. But after I'm graduate from law degree, in bachelor degree, I was human rights lawyer volunteer in Mae Sot, Thai-Myanmar border with the foundation named Human Rights Development Foundation. They do have the project named Labor Law Clinic there. We provide legal advice and support migrant workers to access to complaint mechanism and justice. After that, I moved to IRC. We still work on the immigration issues. At IRC, I focus on policy advocacy for migrant workers, including labor rights, healthcare, education, and protection. We try to connect the base issue in Mae Sot to bring to the center in Bangkok to work how we're gonna change or amendment some policy or law about human rights, especially with migrant workers there. And I also have another hand who work with the Human Rights Lawyer Association. Yeah, we do a lot of policy advocacy for SLAP case. SLAP and then freedom of speech and how people involved to politics. Yeah, currently I work with migrant working group and still a member of Human Rights Lawyer Association. Migrant working group, we are like network of NGO and CSO for all around Thailand, but we still focus on migrants issue, including labor rights, healthcare, education, and protection.
Well, thank you for joining us on this episode of Insight Myanmar podcast. And I think as listeners have already gotten some glimpse of through your introduction, you've been involved in so many different types of really important work in Thailand concerning many aspects of Thai society, which, as has been the case in Myanmar with the conflict that has been raging for these last number of years and even going back decades, so much of your work in trying to take care of various domestic issues, Myanmar and Burmese people and the border issues have started to fall in your domain. So a lot of this conversation will get into how some of your work was geared towards issues relating to Myanmar. Before we get into all that, I guess just an opening question that I'm curious about, going back to the very beginning, what made you want to get into this field? What made you want to care about human rights in Thailand, about law and being a lawyer in Thailand? What brought you into that sphere?
Actually, that when the first time when I saw the announcement from human rights, they have the foundation. They have like a volunteer foundation. They're looking for like a new people, new lawyer who can involve to human rights issues after we graduate from university. I think that the first time that opened my mind to get to know about human rights, because on that time in my university period, we don't even know what is human rights.
Really?
And then migrant worker is something like, is no vocabulary in my mind at all. And when that volunteer foundation, they open the space, I think that's very interesting because it's like a new thing for me on that time. And then I just submit my application, and then I got that project to work to be a volunteer, human rights lawyer volunteer in Mae Sot, Thai-Myanmar border on that time. And that very new to learn to me about situation, about people first time. Actually, and that area also don't know me because I'm from Deep South. Yeah, the people there also learn about me, and myself also learn about that situation, what the border, what the people cross the border, how they live, how they work, what the legal, as I learned from university, can help, can support, and then what can I do for them on that time, yeah.
Yeah, so that was a question I was going to ask, because you're from the Deep South, and Thailand has so many different kind of spheres where living in one region, you might be very involved and knowledgeable about one aspect, but then you go to another part of Thailand and the awareness is very different. Things are very different. And so there's a certain set of issues in the Deep South of Thailand. But then for those living in northern Thailand along the border, you know, the presence of the proximity of Myanmar shapes a lot of the reality there and the conflict that's going on. And so as you relocated there to the border, I'm wondering if you remember the first experience of starting to learn about, there's some really serious things going on in Myanmar. Because even though Myanmar is next door, many Thais don't really know about the situation or have very prejudiced or generalized views. And so to what degree were you aware of the Myanmar context before you got to the border? And then once you relocated there, do you remember that process of learning about what exactly was happening and your reaction to it? And then to follow that up, you mentioned that in your answer, you said you weren't just looking at what was happening, but how you could be an agent of change and you could be an agent of good. And so then as you started to learn more about what was actually happening in Myanmar and on the border, in your capacity as a volunteer at that time, what did you start to learn that you could actually do to help people out?
On that time, I don't even know what happened in Myanmar. I start from like advice for migrant worker how to access the complaint mechanism of when to or access to justice. We start from that point, and then we could not see everything in front of ourselves, right? But we need to see in the back what the background, why Myanmar workers cross the border, come to Thailand. That when question with ourselves, and then we can see the background, what happened in Myanmar. We start to learn about what happened in 88, right? That people flood a lot from Myanmar to be like displaced people living in the refugee camps, and some of them come to become a migrant worker. We can see how broken in Myanmar that push people from across the country to Thailand. And in the same time, on that time, in Thailand also need workers to work in unskilled, because we don't have technology on that time. You can see in the garment, we use a lot of workers, not machine or you can typing or something like that to use replace workers, right? It happened that many long time, and then we just start to work with migrant workers, like a very simple issues. They don't get salary or get minimum wage is lower than the law. Something like law said you have to get 250 baht per day, but migrant worker from Myanmar along the border got only 150 or 200 only. We work like very simple thing is labor violation, is that thing, but in behind the scene is too big thing. It's not only the situation in Myanmar, but in Thailand also about economic. It's like migrant workers, they link. We can see the big pictures between Myanmar, origin country, and then in Thailand as well. What bring them here and why they still work in Thailand, even they got a lot of labor violation, right? Even that we understood even in Thailand they got lots of labor violation, but still better than in their home country, and lots of people stay in Thailand like 2 decades, or some people they have family here, their children could not even speak Myanmar anymore. Yeah, and then we can see like in Thailand side also try to provide fundamental rights for migrant workers. We work a lot about education to support migrant children to access to education, about healthcare. We do have a migrant learning center and work with the government a lot to they have like very strong policy for education for all, that migrant children can study in Thai school without pay, something like that. Yeah, that I think, because we could not deny to say like, oh, we don't want you, because in Thai economic we need migrant worker to do things as Thai workers don't want to do or could not do that, right? And then but we could not just take the benefit for migrant worker, but we also under eyes of international standard like ILO or even bio, right? That's why we need to care about fundamental things like fundamental right for human rights as well.
And this is something that you've called attention to in your career, noting that the development that Thailand has been able to enjoy over these decades is largely credited to this migrant labor force. And this migrant labor force is overwhelmingly made up of the Myanmar people, which tragically is coming from the conflict that they're fleeing and escaping. So, in some ways one can say that the massive development that Thailand has enjoyed has a direct link to the ongoing conflict in Myanmar and this cheap labor pool that comes. But one of the arguments that you've made is that there's this kind of double-edged sword in the way it's looked at in the Thai discourse, where on one hand they've benefited from this, but then on the other hand the migrants and the refugees and the Burmese in particular have then been a subject of prejudice, of discrimination, of feeling like they're a drain on Thai society. So even as they're one of the main drivers and benefits of the Thai development, they're seen as the opposite of that. They're seen as bringing danger and disease in the case of COVID, and crime, and a burden on the system and everything else. I
think that like attitude, people who are not living in the border, like people in Bangkok, they don't understand what the situation along the border, how much the border want migrant workers, or even Thailand, or even in Bangkok. Bangkok is the the higher numbers migrant workers is in Bangkok because they following the economic, right? Where economic is more bigger, that places will be lots more migrant workers. And yes, of course, lots of Thai people think like we need to have some barriers to protect ourselves from migrant workers. We don't understand even what the difference between refugees and migrant workers. We just say, oh, you are alien. In Thai, we call tang dao, like you are non-Thai, you are not us, right? And then they start to build many barriers to protect themselves. But protect yourself from what? That lots of people don't even answer themselves from what. Like you said, some people feel fear like, oh, you are criminal. Because back then in the Cold War, the Thai, Thai Homeland Security or something, they feel like if you are not Thai, you might be dangerous for us. You may be, drugs dealer or crime, something like that. That's why we need to very, very be careful about you. That thinking about who are non-Thai that make Thai government every generation that try to create a law to protect, right? Like immigration law, alien acts, whatever to protect from the security, something like that. And that opinion, that thinking is like passed through generation by generation to think about who are non-Thai, especially a person who might be, we can say like more lower than us. Like you are working class. It's not like foreigner who white color working in the office, blah blah blah, something like that, right? And then you also working in high skill, doctor, agriculture, something like that. But not for migrant worker who work like very 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 low, right? Yeah, something like they still have some that things that the Thai people thinking about that. But on this time, you may see lots of people open mind a lot, especially when you link between migrant workers, economic, and then global system, right? It's like nowadays we are under many convention, or international standard to see how other people looking at us about human rights, especially for migrants, right, or refugees, something like that. And we also very values about humanitarian. Even we not accepted you, but we still could not see you die in front of ourselves, right? That's you can see like along the border we have refugee camps, and Thailand say, okay, you can stay there, you can live there, even we don't know how long, but you have right to live there. But we need control you. You could not work. If we allow you to work, you might be take place for many generations and don't want to resettlement to the third country or return to your origin country. We try to stay like you can survive, but you could not develop yourself or your family or your society to be here more longer, right? And for migrant workers also, there's specific you can work only in labor sector only. Like you can be like a construction, maid, or services or something like that. You could not develop yourself to be like a skilled workers. That the law to try to control people. That because they think like you might be dangerous for us. And now you may see lots of people try to speak out like migrant workers come to take our job because the economic in Thailand is not pretty good, right? And then people feel like you could not sell things, blah, 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 blah. But if you went to Mae Sot along the border, if without migrant workers, without Myanmar people, Mae Sot will be nothing. The market will be like empty, But people in Bangkok, people in another places in Thailand, they don't see that thing, right? They don't understand if without migrant worker, how economic going in Mae Sot. And when the economic broke in along the border, what gonna happen, what gonna affect with all Thai people or economic system, right? I think still have some people they don't see that situation, they don't understand. They feel like we have to protect ourselves. But nowadays, lots of information, people see what the economic is going on, and lots of people understood about that situation. But in the same time, when people see the situation of migrant workers and refugee all around the world, it starts like an effect, right? Like in Europe or in the US, people feel like, oh, how bad situation, because they accept a lot of migrant workers or refugee do lots of bad things, blah blah blah, something like that. And they still have some very very hardcore people who feel like say no at all. But I do believe Thai people 85% still understand why we need migrant workers. And you can see the situation after Thai-Cambodia conflict. And then we have Cambodian workers in Thailand, around 500,000 people. And after the conflict, at least 300,000 people returned back to the origin country. And now got affected with agriculture sector immediately, because they don't have enough workers to pick up the fruits seasonal, right? And then construction sector also affect that a lot. It's gonna happen in the same thing if that something happened with Thai-Myanmar, and then Myanmar stop to send workers to Thailand. I think that picture is pretty clear. But like I said, still have lots of some people who very hardcore, they feel like not at all or something like that also. But I think it's very small group people. But sometimes you can see lots of against migrant workers in social media. It's not because there are lots of people who against, but that people, they may be very loud. They have a voice, they have a channel on the social media, and even one person they speak it out, and but make it too loud. But I don't believe it's lots of people like buy that idea.
Right, but it is a growing phenomenon. This nationalist extreme right media type personality in Thailand. This in the last couple of years, this has really become much more of a force. And that I think the scary thing is not only the misinformation and kind of the hateful rhetoric and nationalist bias that they're putting out there that is certainly painting the Cambodians and Burmese and other migrant workers in a really negative light. But what those voices are also doing, or they're going after the people and calling out the people that are trying to be involved in the issue and trying to help. And so, there have been some activists and advocates that have been made to feel unsafe by the level of online hateful rhetoric that's been directed at them by these hopefully minority. It's certainly reassuring to hear your views that this is not a small group of people, but as you say, they're very loud. They're not completely without influence in terms of the opinion that they influence, and they do not only spread misinformation, but also lead to people that are engaging in the issue to feel unsafe in some ways in the way that they're pushing and characterizing them. And so do you have any sense of where this drive is coming from? Who these people are, what is motivating them to want to be such a media presence and engaging on this issue?
I'm not too sure how they start to do that, but last year that we see the evidence not side at all, the very strong evidence after from Migrant Learning Center in the South. The student in the Migrant Learning Center, they sing Myanmar anthem song. And then some people record that and upload on TikTok or some social media platform. And after that, start from some people share that, we could not allow non-Thai people come to sing another anthem song in our land. And then it's like a wake up from radical, extremely nationalism people start, we could not allow them to do that, blah, 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 blah. And after that, it's like an effect. I think sometimes I feel like security agent in Thailand is very sensitive about national security, something. Even young students sing that song is affect to national security already. How come? And then they start to action like shut down that learning center. I think that's a very, very wrong step to solve the problem, you know. But it seemed like fire, you know, from step one to be a bigger one. And then some influencer, they start to monitoring about migrant situation, especially migrant workers who have like a small business, like open a small shop, blah, 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 in crowded migrant workers, especially in Samut Sakhon, right? Or even in Bangkok, they start to looking, you do some illegal work. And then, and the second thing, as I feel like is very, very wrong step for the government to handle the problem. It seems like they also involved with the influencer to make the influencer content is more stronger because got support from some government agent. For example, like when the influencer, they went to the market to looking or searching some migrant worker who do some legal business. And then they do have some government officer like follow him and try to, you did something wrong. And then they close something like that. Yeah. For myself, I think when the people immigrate, not only themselves, right? Not only single person, but they bring family, they bring culture, they bring food, they bring everything. Myanmar workers love to eat mohinga, right? If Myanmar society don't sell that, how they can have it, right? I think it's very common thing, very simple. But that thing that should make Thai government think about how we gonna live together, right? It's not like you take the law and then this is incorrect, something like that. But the law should be reformed following that situation as well, not very strict one. We use the law like 40 years old. It's not relevant with the nowadays situation anymore. I feel like if you step wrong, it's going through that things, right? But it's not too late if you're gonna change right now to see the real situation, and then see what the real problem about migrant management in Thailand is, because they sell mohinga or what, right?
But now, as you're trying to change these laws, another of the concerns that you've expressed throughout your career and that you just mentioned a little bit ago is the difference between a law being in the books and the way that it's enforced. And there's a gap there. And you just mentioned how even if the minimum wage might be 250 baht a day, there will be pockets where people are making 200, 150, probably much less in other places as well. And this is just one example. There are much worse examples. We can go through a whole laundry list, a litany of all of the different ways that loopholes or just blatant violations are happening. But as someone who is not just an activist, but someone who is working with policymakers, legislation, you're involved in the law. Rule of law must mean a great deal to you, being someone who's devoted your profession to the existence and the belief in laws. And so as you're trying to work to improve and change some of these laws, what are the challenges when there's this gap between, even if something gets changed, the enforcement of it, there's still so many holes throughout the country where it's just not being adhered to as it should be? Yeah,
I think for migrant management in Thailand is very, very big issues. And then that create lots of problem as well, like smuggling, human trafficking, because the lack of the how to get the legal status through the legal process. The legal process to be legal migrant workers in Thailand is difficult, expensive, and take times. That's why sometimes that difficult process is make people out from the legal body in Thailand. But we work a lot to advocate for amendment with the process to get the people who get the work permit. Or in Thailand we have too many different process, too many different policy to get one migrant worker to be legal, right? We have MOU, we have cabinet solution, we have border, the seasonal workers, and of course we still have lots of illegal or irregular migrant workers in Thailand as well. And all that process is difficult in different way and expensive as well. It's hard to say because Thailand tried to bring migrant workers from origin country through MOU. They try too hard to bring only one channel, but in the reality it's impossible. We can see we bring migrant workers from origin country, but we still have lots of migrant workers in our country as well. That we have to two different management about migrant workers. But when you see a MOU, we have to coordinate with origin country. It's too difficult. Especially for Myanmar, right? Because we in Thailand we need to submit name list. How many workers you want for your company or your factory, you have to submit that. And Myanmar also need to check and then prove it. And then Myanmar also have policy like, okay, we're gonna prove it if you migrant worker register under national way to pay taxes, and you have to send the money back to Myanmar through the Myanmar bank or the bank as Myanmar already proved. And then lots of migrant workers say, we know you're gonna take that money to buy weapons to hurt our people. And then lots of people don't want to pay. And then they also think like the Myanmar government have very powerful to change the rate exchange. For example, you transfer by Thai baht and to Myanmar bank, and then the government say like, okay, we gotta rate this number, and then you have like many
right.
And that the migrant worker feel like, okay, we're not happy at all to pay through that, right? And in Thailand, they do have like very trust channel to transfer money back to their home, to their family, like through people to people as they trust, not going through to the bank. I think in the bank system also not really professional. We can say that, right? It's too much different between Thai and Myanmar, even Cambodia. You not see like in, for example, Thai and Malaysia, a bank is very secure. You can transfer like an online bank account, but from Myanmar, we could not do that. That's why it make people feel very insecure about their money. If they send like 10,000 baht, how much their family will get, right? And then that number is the military government gonna take to do something as the people feel like, no, you don't have right to do that, something like that. But even migrant workers, they feel against that policy, right? But they have no choice because Thai government say like, oh, that thing is out of our hand. That is depend on Myanmar. We cannot do anything. But in our civil society try to say, you could not deny that because you got benefit from migrant workers who were in Thailand, right? If the origin country violation of people, the violation of human rights of people to get the legal status, that means you are risk to use the irregular migrant workers. They're gonna affect with buyer as well, right? Like at EU, they don't want to buy the product from the country who use the illegal migrant workers, right? They're gonna affect as well. I think sometimes Thai government maybe not realize enough how important for Thai government to involve about the legal status of migrant workers who got affected from the origin country. Yeah, that thing. But even that, you can see lots of when from Myanmar side, they have very hard policy to do 1, 2, 3, and then they could not prove name list. And that another situation also happened. Some people in the very high position about migrant management pass away, and then it's like lock the process. And then migrant workers from Myanmar could not register through the MOU or something like that. And now it's still the Thai government have to solve the problem through cabinet solution to keep migrant workers to be illegal workers that we have to solve by ourselves. And I have to talk with migrant workers from Myanmar along the border last week. They say, why we don't just use pink card? We don't need passport, because passport is lots of responsibility. You have to report yourself 90 days, right? You got visa only 2 years, and then after that it's not over than 4 years, and then you have to renew your passport. You have to spend lots of money across the country, blah blah blah. But for pink card through cabinet solution, it's only one card. Only one card. You don't need to report yourself to immigration, and then you can travel all around Thailand as well. Why we could not use that? But Thai government say like this only temporary card, and then you're from Myanmar, you should accept it by Myanmar, and then Thailand also should accept you through country to country, like and then that's why you need the passport. That means the government and migrant worker is so different opinion about legal status or card who can live in Thailand or cross the border, something like that. I think the main thing is should be whatever process, MOU or cabinet solution. The only thing for me is should be easy, cheap, and take short time for people who more convenient, more easier to access to their legal status. The legal status is very important. If you are illegal, you might be afraid to access to complaint mechanism, afraid to access to justice, and you might be risk to be violated, right? Or human trafficking or forced labor or something. Yeah, I think that the very important thing that the both country, I mean sending country or receiving country, should realize much more than this to make a people to be legal.
Now, there's this irony here. I can't help but notice that when you're talking about the situation of the MOUs and how the concern is that the Myanmar migrants will be locked in with registering to a dictatorial, illegal, bloody military regime that is anything but a government, and being forced to register with them. And, as if that's not bad enough, you have this added component in there that, as we know, in 2021, the military illegally took over the reins of government, claiming that there were problems with the election, which were never proven, and that there's no evidence for. And then, as we know, our history from the last 5 years went and waged a terrible, bloody, and violent conflict on the people. And the irony here is that many of those Burmese individuals who were rightfully elected or involved somewhat in the legislature or being activists or media or civil society, anything but migrants. I mean, really, you're talking about professional class. They were driven out by these thugs. And many of those figures are in Mae Sot. Many of those figures are in Chiang Mai. Many of those figures are somewhere in Thailand hiding out because even though they were, they come from this more professional class and really a leadership class, this illegal takeover kicked them out and sent them here. And so they're anything but a migrant class. We was talking to a guest on the podcast a couple weeks ago, who's in Mae Sot, was connected with the NUG, and she was laughing and saying, it's really funny because I've talked to a number of Thai people here in Mae Sot that it's like, we've never seen these types of Burmese people before. There's so many of these, business people and intelligent people coming with backgrounds and abilities and everything else, because so many of them were tragically driven out. So there is this new class of Burmese that are coming post 2021 outside of migrant. But the irony here, the sick irony, is that these rightful representatives of what should be part of, if not the government, then the wider civil society, are stateless, are without documents. There are future leaders that will go back to rebuild Myanmar that are sitting there stateless in some degree in Thailand, and being told that, and maybe this is a bit of a stretch because it's outside of the migrant relationship, but it's relevant in the sense that these people have to renew passports. They have to have some relationship with their home country, and their home country is not renewing passports. So for many of them, that they are being told in Thailand that they have to somehow register or be official with an unofficial, unregistered military takeover, which has stripped them of their rights. And so, when you really unpack these things, there's this kind of legalese and officialdom. There's a lot of gaps and things that don't really make sense or add up.
Yeah, it is. I think you can see in Thailand, we could not even identify who are migrant workers or refugees. Mm-hmm. You may see the international law who describe about who is a refugee, very clear, right? Mm-hmm. Who is migrant workers. Mm-hmm. But even Thailand, we have UNHCR who only one person who can identify you are a refugee. But for Myanmar people, or who fled from Myanmar after military coup, they could not identify. Mm. I think some political issue that make the UNHCR or even Thai government, they try to blind themselves to don't see who you are, like a refugee. When we could not identify you are refugee, you are displaced people, you are migrants worker, but how can we manage?
Yeah.
Right? The first thing you have to identify, right. Because you have a different channel, right, to solve the different problem of people. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that the first thing that make Thai very messy to manage about people. We don't separate at all, and then we try to grouping every different people, different situation in the same group. Yeah, that's why some people who try to run away from Myanmar, they come through the MOU process. But I heard some people they know exactly they don't have no job in Thailand at all, but they come through MOU to just run away from Myanmar and come to Thailand without job, and then they just start to searching. But lots of people like that, they try to hide themselves. They don't present like, oh, we are displaced, we are refugee, blah blah blah. They feel like if we can be a migrant workers, yes, we will be migrant workers.
Right, of course, yeah.
Right, for security.
When you're trying to survive, you do whatever it takes to get safe.
Yes. Yeah, even migrant workers as well. When they register like a pink card through the cabinet solution. But if they have another way to get another ID, for secure themselves, they did. You may heard like 10-year card. You heard about that? They have a different card for non-Thai people in Thailand. Pink card for migrant workers, but 10-year card is a white one that for like a stateless. You have no country in this world, and then Thailand gonna provide you some, like a temporary card. That one. They also make that card even they pay for under table to get that. Some people got more than 2, more than 3 cards to secure themselves. Yeah, that because the process, the system, or even the policy is very short-term policy. They feel like they're unskilled, right? If they have another way to get another status, why could not do that, right? They do everything for secure themselves. There's nothing wrong. That if you could not make a people feel secure, you that kind of process, that kind of under table things, it will happen. That thing. The first thing is should clearly clarify identity, who they are, and try to manage through their situation.
Now, if we look at these refugee camps in Thailand, and of course, maybe they're not right to call them refugee camps since Thailand does not even recognize the concept of a refugee. But in these camps, I believe there's about 9 camps that hold about 100,000 people among them. These are camps that were set up.
We also have urban refugee who live in the city. As well, not refugee only along the border.
Right. Whatever we call these people and wherever they are that's located, I'm sure there's a lot of pockets that are still left to be discovered and defined. But looking at these 9 camps along the border, these were set up, I think, about 40 years ago. And they were set up as a temporary a temporary stopgap of the largely Karen people that were fleeing the conflict at the time. There have now been generations of people who have grown up and never seen anything outside of these camps. I mean, this is so tragic. This is so awful, this confined existence. And it's been stuck for a long time, seemingly with a lot of different agencies, a lot of different people involved, and there have been only incremental progress in terms of the lives of these people there. Do you have any thoughts or suggestions as to what can be done with these camps and the individuals in them?
Yeah, I think it's because Donald Trump, president, that very big change about policy management refugees in Thailand, because lots of NGO who provide fundamental rights for refugees, they have to shut down themselves. Like IRC have to stop health care service, and TBC maybe stop to give some food for refugees already. And that very, very louder wake up call for Thailand government to see. You can see like couple weeks ago, the Thai government already have the cabinet solution will allow a refugee in the camp to go out from the camp to work. But now we don't see the detail yet. What kind of work they can do, what area, blah blah blah, something. But I do believe it's gonna very, very, very good step for Thai government to manage about that people. And nowadays Thai also already in aging society. We need migrant workers. We need workers to work because we don't have technology yet. And refugee in the camp, we don't know exactly how much, right? How many people, because we have different number. UNHCR, the NGO, and it's 2 different numbers. I think a good step for Thai government to register them by government to see how many of them, and of course they're human resource. We can see like Thailand have to be a little bit selfish. When we register, we can see how many and how can we take benefit from them under the law. We should not violation, right? But they're human resource and we need that. I think that's a good thing for the government to see that the real people, that the people we can, and then all of them know where to go, right? The US also like a lock up for resettlement, and Europe also very difficult situation now. They have nowhere to go. And Thailand also have no choice. Send back to their origin country, they have nothing there, right? No land, no relative, like a 2 generation, 3 generation already in the camp, right? Even they still speak Burmese or Karen or something, they learn Thai, they learn English in the camp, they have skill, but of course I think we need to reskill a little bit, right? What our market want, right? And then we can train them to be our workers. they also can have a life, real life, outside the camp.
I suppose some of these laws are moving beyond just what's on paper and what you're doing with governments and laws and rules, and some of this is getting at the heart of Thai identity and what does it mean to be a Thai citizen. So as you're having these conversations at the highest levels of looking at inclusion and laws and human rights and everything else, to what degree is this concept or this ideology of what it means to be a Thai citizen, of who gets to claim Thai citizenship and be seen as integrated in Thai society, to what degree is this quality part of the conversations you're having?
Like myself, I could not say I'm Thai. I'm a Malayu from Deep South. In the history, I'm from somewhere else. It's not even a part of Thailand.
Yeah.
But Thailand is diversity, right? We have Chinese people who floating boat from China to Thailand, and nowadays they come very rich in this country, right? We have too many different people. And then for me, Thailand is not about people. It's not about people. It's about diversity. People is very, very important resource to build a country, no matter who you're from, where you're from, or who you are, right? And then identity or citizenship is only legal things, but not the real thing, right? You can provide identity. You can provide 30-digit number to identity you are Thai with the 30-digit number card, right? Something like that. But for developing country, you could not use only Thai citizen, right? Yeah, I think that human resource is very important to build our society, to build our culture, to build economic, to everything. Some Thai people feel like we are Thai, very strong meaning like. But if you asking what the meaning about Thai, who are Thai, how to separate. You have like an indicator 1, 2, 3 with Thai or something like that. For me, it's not like that at all. But we need to see what we want without citizenship lens, right? We need human rights, of course, and then human rights can be together with the economy. Like nowadays, we have business human rights, we have human rights due diligence, blah blah blah, following the international standard. Yeah, we nowadays is not the time to see citizenship or real Thai or something like that at all. Yeah.
Now, I'd like to go back in time a few years, and I'd like to prompt you to talk about one of your real landmark cases that you worked on, because even though this was before the coup, I think the implications of this reverberate into what we're seeing now. And this was involving the chicken farm.
Oh, chicken farm. Oh, yeah. Yeah. That actually is, that time is about labor violation as well, because they're working in the chicken farm. But chicken farm, you should take care of the baby chicken like 24/7, right? And then they have very limit migrant workers on that time. It's 13 or 14 people only. And then it's one farm is about 50,000, 50,000, right? There's too many chicken in the farm. Only one person, only one worker who take care of that day and night, right? And then they just ask for. They also get the lower than minimum wage on that time, and then one of CSO in Samut Sakhon, they got call from migrant workers to ask to help, something like that, right? And then after that, they just take migrant worker asset to complaint mechanism that start to argue with the legal, with the farm owner, right? Yeah, they do have labor case. And then migrant worker also submit the request to Human Rights Commission of Thailand to see this violation of human rights or not. And then they do have a criminal defamation. Many people, not only migrant workers on that time, some NGO also got a lawsuit from the farm owner. Yeah, but finally we got money for migrant workers because the owner pay the lower than minimum wage, and then that is for me is wake up call for the labor protection as well, to see the migrant worker in every sector, and then to see the violation of migrant workers can be any cases, civil case or criminal cases, or even the Human Rights Commission also take care of that case as well. Even finally, Human Rights Commission of Thailand said this is not human trafficking, but we can see the forced labor on that lens. Yeah, until now, some cases still going on in the court on the criminal defamation. Yeah.
But this was a landmark victory because the courts ruled in your favor, and they ruled that what had happened was unfair and illegal, and that compensation was awarded.
Yeah, it is. And you can see normally the people who work in the factory, right? They have a timeline to work, like 8 hours in the day, and then they're working like overtime at night, not over than 4 hours. That law said. But on the chicken farm, the worker have to sleep in the farm because they have to take care of the baby chicken, right? Yeah. A chicken grow only 45 days. And then they have to feed food, injection, chemical thing to protect the chicken, blah, blah, blah. And also have to protect chicken from snake come to eat the chicken in the farm. They have to sleep there and then listen what fan. They have a big fan to control their condition in the farm. They have to listen. There is something unusual, like a stop working or something like that. They have to awake and fix it, right? That's why they have to sleep there. But on that time, the owner tried to defend like, you're not working at night because you sleep. And then you have freedom because you use my Wi-Fi. That's why you can call to help to see CBO, and then some person come to rescue you or something like that. And then they said like, we don't have any wall in our farm. You can go out anyway, everywhere. You can go at any time you want. Yeah, that issue as well about the wall. They said like we have nothing to block you in the farm. Yeah, something that also affect with the enforcement of the human trafficking. When you don't have any wall to lock people in that area, but the worker don't have their own passport. They could not keep their own passport by themselves. If they went outside or buy things in the market, if they're met with some police and then you check your ID, that's gonna have problem, right? And then people feel afraid to go out, right? It's not about war at all. It's not about gate, you lock the gate or not, but you make people fear inside to go outside because they don't have any legal status. That we think, we discuss a lot about element of human trafficking, not only in physical lock, right, but some fear about freedom of people as well. Yeah.
And I think what was so remarkable about the victory of this case was that so often in these cases of migrant rights and refugees and stateless people, there's the law is seen as something that is more punishing them, and there's a fear of authorities rather than believing that there's going to be justice or that they're going to be treated fairly. And in this case, the courts ruled in the favor of those workers, of those migrants. And so with that ruling, do you see that as any precedent where they're looking at that? I think this was 2019 this happened. So, we're some years after that. Was there any kind of precedent that this made that showed that that the authorities were not going to be able to just have their way every time, that the rule of law could prevail in some cases, and that made some people be a bit more careful in knowing that in looking at enforcement mechanisms that they couldn't violate these laws quite so blatantly going forward.
I don't see any big change in the policy yet, but since see like a case by case, yeah. And nowadays we still have problem about what is human trafficking and how different between with forced labor. Yeah, the element of two of them still make lots of conversation in even in NGO. When we take case to the court, is something else. We don't know how a judge got training about human trafficking, about forced labor, but many cases is like we can see like, oh, what? It's not like we are learned before, It's a very different process. Yeah, you can see many cases start from forced labor. But in the end, in the court, when they have judgment, is something else. Yeah, we still have problem about enforcement, about how to clarify in each element of the human trafficking and forced labor. We do have many cases about the owner, they keep passport or pin card with themselves because they say, oh, I pay that for you. If you pay back to me, I will return the card to you or something like that. And then some judge, they don't understand. They feel like, oh, you are the process to get your card or something like that. The owner have right to keep your card during waiting to accept the process to register. That means they're not really want to keep that for force you to work or something like that. I think that thinking a lot in the court process, not in the prosecutor, because police and prosecutor, they work together in the ground, right? They interview through the process to what they call to screening victims of human trafficking or survivor of human trafficking. They work a lot together. They have many professional to screening, right? But sometimes we can see like the screening is very strong, but when going up to the court, they just say, oh, this is not human trafficking, this is not forced labor, just labor violation. Yeah, that we don't know exactly what the wrong point in each process, but we can see lots of that. And I don't have the number how many cases like of human trafficking or forced labor through to the court, but many cases that I watched done, in the end, it's not forced labor, not even human trafficking. That's why we still ranking point. What do you call? We have a report, human trafficking report each year. A tier in Thailand is tier 2, I think. Yeah.
So then looking at these very serious issues of human trafficking and forced labor, you're describing a kind of murkiness and a lack of clarity in terms of like, does it fit into this definition? What does it really mean to say that it's forced labor, that it's human trafficking? So what is it about the nature of these definitions that would make it unclear for someone knowing or not knowing if it fell in that category? The first part of the question. And the second part of the question, when we're looking at those individuals, and again, tragically, largely Burmese, that are falling into situations of forced labor or of human trafficking, what type of work does that often fall into?
Yeah, for myself, I think like the very simple violation of labor is not forced labor or human trafficking for sure. But when you see this, the fact the workers could not have their freedom to move, right? And they keep the passport or something like that. For me, it's very clear this is forced labor. Yeah. But in the enforcement, it's something else. Or working long hours, like working in the chicken farm 24/7 until the chicken out from the farm for 45 days. You have no day off, That's a working very long hour. Of course, for me, it's forced labor.
Yeah.
But in implementation, this case is not forced labor. We do have case working very long hour in the boat, in fishing. They work like 10 years. They could not even take leave to see his mom pass away. Something like that. This, of course, is forced labor. You take advantage from people and lock people who could not even take their leave under the law, right? Yeah, something like that. For me, it's very, very simple to see how you got the benefit and you could not have it, but you take it, right? Yeah, but under the law, they have element like 1, 2, 3. You have to take someone from, you have to use like for example, I asking you to come to work in Thailand, but actually, and then I ask you, okay, you can work in a factory, but in the reality, I take you to the sugar cane farm. That's something wrong. The message is, I really know that message is not right? But I just want you to believe me and take out you from your place to Thailand, right? And then you believe me, you come. That's one element. And then second, when I take you to the sugar cane, I feel like, no, I don't want to work in sugar cane. I want to work in a factory, blah, blah, blah. You say, no, I take you here, you have to work here. And then I keep your passport, I keep your identity card, and you have to work here without no reason. You no need to say anything, just work there. And then the owner of the sugar cane feel like, oh, you all guys, you are so strong. I have to protect myself with my gun. I feel like if you do something and I feel like I'm unskilled, I'm gonna shoot you. And then people feel like so of fear to go out, even they ask the money for salary, something like that. Even that case I worked, the farm, the sugarcane owner, they keep their phone as well. And if the worker need to use the phone, need to come to him time by time. This time I need to call to my family. Okay, you have 5 minutes.
Wow.
It is.
Wow. That's
and then if you're done, you have to return. Yeah, like that. That time, I think that's very, very clear element of definition of human trafficking. But the judge say this is not human trafficking.
Really?
It is.
And then what fields or types of work do you usually see people falling into with as regards to human trafficking and forced labor?
Actually can be any sector, even housework. Many years ago, we have some young girl from Laos. They were cleaning in the house. She could not go anywhere, and then the owner very torture so badly, so bad. You could not imagine that. Even myself, I feel like, oh my God, unbelievable. People do that to people. Yeah, it is. But that case is human trafficking for sure, because more than slave. Yeah, she hurts many years and then have lots of very strong evidence on her body too, because the owner very tortured her, so hard many years. Yeah, that is so clear about human trafficking. But finally, I think that defenders, the owner who do that to her, is run away until I'm not sure nowadays they got arrested or not. But that case very, very clear definition and the situation.
And what can you tell us about the role that labor unions play in this? Labor unions, both from the standpoint of how they're allowed to operate for Thai citizens, as well as what we see labor unions in the case of migrants.
Yeah, because nowadays Thailand not accept the convention 87 or to convention, the ILO. Not yet. The ILO convention about the freedom of the union for migrant workers. But migrant workers can be a member of union. But under the law, you can be a member the same sector as you work. Like if you work with the garment, you have to join the garment sector. If you work in agriculture, you have to join in agriculture only. But many sectors is only migrant workers. For example, like fishery. We don't have the fishery union. And how migrant workers in the fishery industry can join the union. They could not join it. And I know couple Thai union, trade union, they try to work to try to advocate, to promote for migrant workers to be a part of the union. But like I said, like very strong union right now in Thailand, they are not in the sector of migrant workers works. That big problem for migrant workers could not join the union. But many unions, they still try to advocate about migrant rights. They say all migrants are, what do you call it? It's like we all migrant, we all workers, no matter where you're from, right? If you work, we are worker, and then the worker rights is equal, something like that. But in another part of union also have some like very hardcore as well. They say like, no, this is union only Thai. If we provide your right to be a part of our union, that means you're gonna violate Thai workers' rights. They do have some people think like that as well. And then you may see our civil society working like 15 years already to try to push the government to sign the ILO convention. Until nowadays, nothing happened yet. Even now we have what do you call FTA between Thai and EU, and then one of the regulation from the EU to sign the FTA say, okay, you have to consider about the right to association of migrant workers or all workers, but still on the process. And now the government failed. Nobody gonna bring that issue to FTA, but we'll see. But yeah, it's tried too hard. Not only 5 years, over 10 years, 15 years already. Yeah, still fighting between. I do believe government. I talk with MOL. They do agree to sign the ILO convention, but they have to submit their opinion to the government, and the government gonna make decision last one, right? But in politics, it's always, you maybe don't know who came from another channel try to stop even that. And I do think lots of the company owner, they disagree also. They say like, you have full rights under labor protection already. No need more. Actually the freedom of association is very fundamental rights, right? Even I heard some officer from security agent, they say like, how you make what we gonna do if we allow them to freedom of associate, and then they come lots more to Thailand. I feel like, what make you think like that? People not come to Thailand to work because we are free of association. They come to be a better life, right? And then freedom of association is like, it's like we are a group of people hang out, eating. Of course, if something happened, the violation is more stronger than you alone, right? Your voice alone. But that means Thailand also value, increase ourselves to become standard, right? Not over, no? Just become a standard only. It's make good looking, right? Good image for Thailand, Thai government as well, to see, about the labor rights, right? I think that's a lot of benefit for Thailand, not for migrant workers. Of course, the freedom of association is a choice, is an option, right? We can provide, but they maybe don't want to be a part of union. Who knows, right? Yeah, that means force people go to this association, but Thai government, we are a country, we need to confirm you have rights, right? You don't need to join, but you have rights.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And that solidarity can be so important because you've referenced other times when individuals have tried to bring challenges and complaints to the Department of Labor, and they're not even allowed to meet with a lawyer. Even a lawyer doesn't have access to them.
Yeah, it's difficult. For labor protection inspector, they provide the interpreters. For example, in Mae Sot and in many areas who have migrant workers, they have the interpreters in labor aspect. It's what you call labor protection office. But if you bring case to the labor court, no interpreters. Mm-hmm. And in labor court in Thailand, they have is different with the other civil case. Mm-hmm. You can just walk in and then ask the legal advice in the court to write your lawsuit, blah, 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 by yourself. No need lawyer, actually. But for migrant workers, without lawyer, cannot do anything. Without NGO or CSO support interpreters, you could not do anything. Mm-hmm. It's free, no need lawyer. But for migrant workers, it's something else because the government did not provide another important thing to support them to get through to the process. Yeah, that's still hard for migrant workers walk into the justice system by themselves.
Right. Now, we've talked about many of these different avenues whereby Burmese are coming into Thailand, talked about the MOUs, the migrant workers, the official refugee camps, as well as the urban refugee areas, the mismatch of whatever Mae Sot is, et cetera, et cetera. One other thing to bring up here is the national screening mechanism, or NSM.
Yeah.
Right. So tell us about that.
Yeah, NSM, we actually... We call like the government order something. It's not like act or something like that, but of course they're enforcement right now. We do have lots of problem how to access to NSM. Mm-hmm. First thing, if you want to access to NSM, you have to be illegal person first. That means you have to surrender yourself to the immigration because you're living in the country without visa. Many of them, they don't want to walk into the immigration or to the detention, And first step, when you surrender yourself, and you have to bail yourself. You have to bail like 50,000 baht. For refugee, for urban refugee, you could not even work. How you get money? You could not work. I think they have income from relative who already resettlement, or they have their own pocket money or something like that. Or some also got support from religion sector, like a church or something like that. And they got money to bail themselves, 50,000 baht. Mm-hmm. After bail, they have to double bail. First 50,000. And the second, to access to NSM, they have to bail themselves again, 20,000. Total 70,000. I also asked the immigration, why you don't use the same amount, the first 50,000 to be the second bail? They say, it's about admin things they could not manage in their own sector, in their own in the immigration. Yeah, to be easy, they say just put more 20,000. That means they have their own management in their department, but they don't want to take responsibility on that. They just push to refugee or urban refugee to take that what do you call, to take responsibility to find money 70,000 to bail themselves. After bail, you might be and on that process that immigration have to investigate how are you really could not return to your country because of what situation, blah blah blah. That process is very hard because they need to investigate through your origin country, right? And then what the evidence gonna support you are a refugee, you could not return to your home. If you return, you're gonna die, you're gonna get arrested, blah 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 blah. That evidence to prove is very, 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 very difficult. And nowadays, I thought they have only few people who passed and got a book. They call a book for refugee book, but I think it's not over than 5 people. Yeah, after they implement like over years, yeah, not over than 5 people, and then along the process, it's not over than 300 something. It's very small because the people feel like what gonna happen after, right? If you got the status, you have to stay here, but you still could not work anyway. And then people don't want to surrender themselves. We try to work like, if you really want the people who access to the NSM process, you need to amnesty first. Amnesty. You will not get arrested because you violation of the Immigration Act, because you are going through the NSM process. And the NSM process also, they do have committee, and all committee member is from government and from police, from public prosecutor, or the government agent is from national security, you know. If I have to go that process, how can I trust? Right? Yeah, they don't balance about the committee who gonna consider about your application, right? And then the appeal process also unclear, and after, in the end of the process also unclear as well what the benefit for the refugee after that, or what the protection during the process as well. Yeah, it still have many challenges.
If, as you were going through that description, if I were to count the number of times in your recent description you talked about an incident being unclear or ineffective or murky or something, I don't know what that number would add up to. It just seemed like every 5 seconds there was some other feature of the NSM you were describing that was problematic. And so I think definitely we end up with a double-digit number in terms of how many gaps and problems there are with that. And I think that begs the question and goes back to why Thailand does not recognize refugees. They are not a signatory of the 1951 Refugee Convention, as I understand.
Yeah, we don't recognize that.
And so, 1951 is a long time ago. That's a lot of intervening years in which that could be reviewed and analyzed. What is your understanding as to the reasons as to why since 1951, Thailand has continued to not go back and consider being a signatory? What would potentially being a signatory do if they were hypothetically to sign on to that? How would that immediately change things in Thailand to suddenly recognize the official status of a refugee? And why do you think that it has been so hesitant to not want to sign on? It seems like it leads to so many, this whole thing about the NSM, it seems like so many of these other issues that we've been discussing, this is the elephant in the room. It feels like to me, if there could be a review of the acknowledgement and status of refugees, you call it what it is. But obviously there must be greater forces at play that are intent on not recognizing refugees and seeing that as not solving a lot of existing problems, but actually creating a greater one. So what are those dynamics at play there?
For me, yes, of course, the Refugee Convention is very important. But without sign or accepted that convention, is not mean Thailand could not protect refugees in Thailand. And nowadays, even we're not signed yet, but we have the NSM already, and now we have Anti-Torture and Forced Disappearance Act, the Article 13, that accept the what you call like non-refoulement, do not send the people back to the country to facing with the danger, right? We accept that one in our domestic law already. Yeah. I think the reason the Thailand concerned a lot to not accept the convention is about the concern about flooding of people. I think that main reason. If we we open the gate and then people will flood come in, because you can see in our neighbors like Myanmar, even Cambodia, part of Vietnam as well. They do have some human rights violation, and some of them also cross the border to live in Thailand in refugee status as well. I think that Thailand concerned a lot about that. They don't think about aging society yet. They don't think about more bigger issue gonna do that as well. And then that convention also non-legal binding, right? Yeah, nobody gonna take our prime minister to jail, right? At least they just have very strong accommodation to Thailand, right? In the international convention every 5 years or what, and the Thailand feel like, okay, we don't need to care that much. We need to concern our homeland security, our border security, our national security, job security, or whatever. They concern that things more. But like I said, for me, it's more important than sign a convention. Is we have domestic law to protect the people. And then nowadays we do have at least Article 13 anti-torture and forced disappearance. I think if we can enforce that or implement that law, it's gonna protect refugees who protect from send them back to the origin country. That's good. Maybe not enough yet, but I think that's a good one. We do have some case from Vietnam. He ran away from Vietnam like many years ago, and then he got arrested from Myanmar, from Vietnam government. Like he's like a terrorist, bombing in Vietnam. But that happened when he already in Thailand, and then the Vietnam government submit the letter through the Ministry of Affairs, through the government, like, okay, we need Thailand send him back to the country, and because he had a judgment like 10 years in the detention. But that process is at least I think 100 defenders got arrested in Vietnam, and they take only 5 days to take all that to the court and then have a judgment, final judgment, 10 years in the detention during he already in Thailand. And then on that case, we try to present the Article 13 from the Anti-Torture Act. And then the judge said like, oh, we could not protect them because he is a terrorist. And finally the judge have a judgment to send him back to Vietnam, but now they still on the appeal. He's still in Thailand, but we can see even we have a law already, but for enforcement is a difficult as well. You may see they might be have very clear the article, but they also have accept if that like a torture, like a terrorist. You could not say you could not protect terrorists, even the terrorist is a refugee, something like that. Something still need to discuss on that.
No, you mentioned this fear of a flooding of refugees into the Thai borders, which is one of the reasons why there's this hesitation to want to strengthen protections or to change the designation. As you say that, I'm thinking of what happened between 2023 and 2024, when an estimated 250,000 people were rounded up. 200,000 of them presumed to be Burmese, many of whom were sent back to Myanmar, many of whom were then conscripted by this illegal military to serve in the front lines. This was just atrocious. And And from my understanding of this roundup of 250,000 people, nothing like this had really ever happened in recent history. And the reasons for this, to me, are a bit murky and unclear as to what was driving this this rush of wanting to go after all of these migrants and undocumented in the country, and it created quite a bit of fear as well among those that were here. What can you tell us about that?
We could not take like this and then fear is gone, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the situation is gonna change anyway, and if situation change is slow, the law is also slow.
Mm-hmm.
But even situation change is real quick, but the law is still like very slow to follow the situation, right? We can see many law is out of date already, but Thai government don't really realize that to change the law yet. We can see we have 40 years old Immigration Act. We have old law. It's too difficult. We can see like they don't want to change the law because they fear as well. Mm-hmm. If even situation already changed, right? Why you still need foreigner to report yourself every 90 days? Mm. Why you still need to know where foreigners sleep tonight, right? They need hotel to record every single mm-hmm. person. That fear is very hard for me to solve, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. But one thing, as I see, we need to realize what the real situation happens, right? And what we can protect ourselves from something as we feel like it's insecure or very dangerous. But which level is fixed with that situation? We could not protect ourselves 100, but fear is only 0.1 or something like mm-hmm. that. Yeah, I think that's very important when we can see all pictures mm-hmm. and then can rank which situation is real risk or just in risk only, not in the real situation. Like migrant workers nowadays is not the person who need to keep eyes 24/7 anymore. Mm-hmm. They come to be workers, working in unskilled workers. Mm-hmm. They're not like bring weapons, mm-hmm. Drugs or something like that. Not like before anymore. Mm-hmm. And if we can lower our protection with the situation is not dangerous with us anymore, and then I think that very important to see the situation and then realize in the real situation. And we also have to remind ourselves as well about nowadays we are 18 society. Mm. What we gonna do with that? How we can replace with other people from other country with our people who get old, no skill as well actually. Yeah, that's the real situation we need to realize. If we can see and then accept that situation, we can see how what the gate we can open or which gate we can close. Mm-hmm.
Mm. I want to ask you about post 2021. You've been involved in this field for a long time. You've worked with Burmese and at the border for a long time as well. So you have an institutional history of seeing Thai-Burmese relations as well as the Burmese refugees, if we can call them that, migrants, etc., those fleeing conflict, any better opportunities, any number of things. You've seen the history of them coming into Thailand. After 2021, there was obviously a dramatic shift. And then after conscription, even a greater wave of people coming. And so how would you characterize what we've seen both post-coup and post-conscription in Thailand in terms of the numbers that are coming, the influence they're having in Thailand, in Thai society, in media, in politics, in the national conversation, and to what degree is these large numbers that are coming and the dramatic circumstances behind which that are driving them, to what degree is this also influencing the overall conversation and discourse on these kinds of reforms and rights that are ongoing at the highest levels?
Yeah, we can see the after pandemic and then after military coup is almost the same, but still different. Before military coup in Myanmar, we still have hope. The migrant workers will get through the process very smoothly, right? You come to work, you return to home, you send the money, build your own business in your home country, blah, 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 something like that. And the process to get passport also more smoothly than this. After military coup, migrant workers feel like, okay, their homeland is not safe, not the place that they want to go back anymore. That means they might have longer plan to live in Thailand more than before. Yeah, and then they also have another group like very activists, activists. They also influx in Thailand as well. And then along the border, they also have civilians who live in very small village, right? They cross the border because at emergency situation. And then Thailand, okay, you can stay here for a couple of days. After that, after safe there, we send you back. Or okay, you still have problem to getting food or something, we have humanitarian support. We send food to you like for short term, something like that. Thailand still try to seal the border to not allow migrant workers or displaced people cross the border as much that they can, right? If you come, you stay here for a couple of days and then you send them back. But lots of people, they have another channel to influx, right? They have passport, you can come to Thailand. You can come by illegal to pay money for smuggling, blah, 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 and then become migrant workers. I don't see the big different numbers to register in Thailand after coup, but we concerned about, because we provide a pink card, but the pink card is very short term, like 2 years, and every year or something. And then after that, what's gonna happen? Because they could not return to the origin country. That we concerned about legal status, and then the communicate or coordinate between the government to the government also have some barriers, many barriers actually. Yeah, that make people insecure in their legal status. That I concerned about how to return to the origin country, and then make all the process to make people be legal person more difficult. And then I do concern about the power of the military government try to involve in Thailand process for register, like taxes or force the migrant worker to send money back to Myanmar, to Myanmar, and then Thai government like ignore. I do afraid something like that. Yeah, it's not about. Of course, I don't mind about the number as much as the Thai sector wants them. I do think the government should have the number how much they want migrant workers in our economic system. For example, you need 5 millions. Okay, 5 millions, and then we have at now 4 different countries, right? Laos, Myanmar, Cambodia, and then Vietnam also come to Thailand. 5 millions in 4 different countries. How many each you want? If you maximum that quota already, you have to stop it. But now I don't see it. I don't see the exactly number, and then they just feel afraid to about migrant influx to Thailand. But how many you want? And then if you have certain number, you can stop them, right? Like that. But even we talk like that in the Bangkok, right? But along the border is something else. It's different, right? Because you can see Mae Sot, small river, migrant worker can cross every day. Even they have military along the border, but nobody arrests you, right? You can take the boat 10 baht only. Yeah. Or even during Mae River is no water anymore. You just cross. Very, very easy. But that means Thai government have to have the long-term management about migrant inside Thailand inside in like a Bangkok and it's good at Bangkok, and along the border is something else because the situation is different. Migrant needs inside and along the border is different. Yeah, I think that to consider about that.
Right. So much of this conversation is based on the historical and increased instability in Myanmar. So much of it is coming back to that. And this might be a conversation above both of our pay grades. It might be outside the domain of really where we're situated. But everything that we're looking at in terms of these issues that are requiring attention, they're all a direct and immediate result of the ongoing conflict and the instability that are in Myanmar. And this, I think a rational person would look at this and think, well, Thailand is easily the most impacted country in terms of the result of these decades of this mass instability that's going on in Myanmar. So the more that you're able to help contribute to a workable solution in Myanmar for the Myanmar people and restore good Thai-Myanmar relations, and I don't mean Bangkok-Naypyidaw, I mean among the wider communities and societies that are able to be safe and free and have rights, the more that there's going to be overall prosperity and harmony, and the other positive things that develop from a stable society that develop. And so, as long as Myanmar continues to go down this road, this just feels like Band-Aids on a dam that's breaking. There's only so much that we can do. We could certainly help along the edges and make better laws and have better inclusion and everything else. But as long as that monster is still raging over there, you're going to continue having the tragedy of people that are fleeing for their lives, are fleeing airstrikes and conscription and landmines and assaults and, everything else that the military is doing on the civilian population. And so, again, a rational person would look at Thai self-interest and see that it's pretty obvious that there needs to be some long-lasting solution here. Again, this might be a topic a bit out of our domain, and we've on this platform we've definitely spoken with people about foreign relations and ASEAN and looking at the wider solutions for this conflict. But where I want to ask you and where this relates to this conversation is the upcoming election, the December 28th election in Myanmar, which is causing a lot of justifiable concern and anxiety in terms of what that will mean. Now, during this conversation, we might not be able to look at any kind of solution or improvement to the crisis, but we can look at where this is going and the trajectory and what's coming down the line. And so as far as you're aware of the dynamics of the election and what that could mean for the military's grip on power and the further instability that we'll see, and even leading up to the election, there's a lot of signs that the conflict is really going to intensify. Looking at that reality of before and then after this election is taking place and what that means next door, what are you thinking and what are you seeing or hearing in terms of what this is going to mean for increased volatile situation in Myanmar, leading to the Burmese people entering at higher and higher numbers, and what that means to Thai society?
Of course, for me, democracy in our region is very important. Without democracy in Myanmar, Thailand also could not solve any problem along the border or migrants or refugees who affected direct to Thailand, right? But it's a difficult thing as well. Like you mentioned about ASEAN. ASEAN is right. They don't have the power to do anything because they have very strong commitment, like we will not involve to internal things in other members, right? Yeah, that means even in human rights issues, right? Myanmar government, Myanmar military, but kills 1,000 people, and then ASEAN still do nothing. They have some statement and then nothing at all. Yeah, that I think For me, I think in our civil society, election will mean nothing. It's like a fake election. The military government will do anything to become a legal power, right? Nowadays they have absolute power, and then the election after election will be the same. But it seems like we make up a little bit, but nothing different. I don't think migrant workers in Thailand also trust that fake election and then trust the result. They still feel like unskilled in their life to return their country. Yeah, even they got real politics, a real democracy, but economy is already down. You know, it's too low now, right? It's not like, okay, we after election please come home, and then people feel like, oh, our home have election, we have the government from people voice, and then yeah, please go home, let's go home. No, it's not happen like that, right? I think it's not only election but economic also. But the result with fake election could not build the real real politics, or it could not even build the economy, and then it could not make any change for migrant workers who are already here.
Yeah.
I don't think so. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I want to close by shifting the focus a bit to some of the domestic issues that you have brought to attention, because I think this gives a fuller picture for the ways that you've tried to engage in progressive manners to want to look after the freedoms and the rights of many people that are in Thailand. We've spent a lot of the time talking about the Burmese influx, but you've also been at the forefront of a lot of domestic change you've been seeking, both in terms of gender and religion. Famously, there was a Thai law that female lawyers were not allowed to wear pants like their male counterparts. They had to wear skirts. This sexist law that you successfully challenged. And also inherent in that law was your own Muslim background in terms of the length of skirts that you would wear. And going into that as well, I'm sure that it's been an ongoing presence for you. And you referenced this earlier before, just this sense of Thai inclusion and what it's like being from the deep South, the distinction of how far you are from the centers of power, the kind of Thai-ness, both of being Muslim as well as being from the deep South, what that means of inclusion. And so I want to prompt you to talk a bit about how you have engaged both on the aspect of gender equality and the work you've done specifically with female lawyers and the dress code, as well as what you've seen on inclusion of minorities, religious minorities, geographic minorities being separated as you are in the Deep South.
Yeah, in Deep South we also have some conflict, and then we are under the emergency decrees, the security law or something. Yeah, over 20 years. And after I graduated from law school, and then I went to work in Mae Sot, right? On that time, it's my hometown is already have conflict. I do have questions a lot from people. Why you come to work about migrants issues? Why you don't go to your
right?
Yes,
yeah.
But for on that time, the the channel or the place working area is very limited for lawyer, especially for new lawyer who have no experience at all. And then I start from the non-profit organization, right? They do have limit budget to hire or have some volunteer to work. And yeah, and on that time we just work my first jobber. I just catch what I can in the first time, right? Because I have to survive as well. But when we work on that topic, we just like to very deep into that topic we work on, right? And then just continue that. Actually, about the pants for female lawyer, actually I don't even care about what the regulation said, because sometimes it's about convenience, right? Yeah, about convenience. We took public transportation, right? But one day, The judge asked me to come to him and then asking me why you wear pants. And that time I feel like my pants has problems now.
Wow. Yeah.
Actually, I don't even see how come it's not a big issue. It's not affect with the justice system or hearing. It's nothing. It's not affect to anybody or nothing. And then I start to talk with a colleague. I public post on my social media, and then my colleague come to discuss about that, and then we can say, okay, the problem is about the regulation of the lawyer, and then we work. It's 2 years, just change from from skirt to pants. It take 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah, because we have lots of people who feel like, hey, we have a good uniform, we have a good regulation already. No need to change, but that is over 2 decades. It's almost my age. I think that regulation is around, for nowadays, around 40 years. Yeah, and that's a pretty long way to fight about the people opinion. It's not about law. It's about people at all. Yeah. For me, like a religion or different culture is nothing for me. I think you can, like I said, actually Thailand is very diversity. Yeah, but in the first time when I was in university, my friend from Northeast, from Isan, they don't even know. In Thailand, we have Malayu in Deep South, and then we speak our language. They understood that I speak English. That now that we can understand because we don't have internet, right? Yeah, the information also very limited. But now the people see everything in your hands, right? Only one bottle, and then you can see everything. That make the diversity is very meaningful to everybody. Yeah, but of course we're still facing with some stupid question, but it's not affect to my daily life at all.
So you haven't really felt so much discrimination based on your religious background, or as you mentioned, you have a different native language. Those haven't played so much into your life being in Thailand?
No,
that's good.
Not at all. Yeah. Yeah, maybe because I'm old enough to facing with some questions like that. And back then, a couple years ago, actually last year or whatever, lots of people, when they hear my accent, I speak Thai, and they say, "Are you Thai?" I still facing with that kind of problem. And I say, "Yes, I'm Thai." And some people feel, "Are you from Deep South?" Because they can hear my accents, because Thai is my second language, right? And they still have some accent. But I think in general, people, they don't care about accents, right? If you come from the north and then you speak like Bangkok people, of course your accent is different. But it's not mean you're Thai. And my mom, she cannot speak Thai. She speak Malayu for the rest of her life. Or some Thai people who are Korean, who live in the north, right? And the rest of their life, they don't speak Thai. They speak Korean. They are Thai as well. I think that some Thai people need to accept that we are diverse, and then Thai language is is like a main language to communicate in this country only, but not me. We don't have another languages. Yeah, that's it.
It's interesting, and it's interesting making these connections between your how you have come to define and see, we could say, Thainess, in being from a different geographical location, different native language, different religion than the majority Buddhist, and how you have, even with that, you have very much felt claimed a Thai identity and a sense of inclusion, and so then bringing that sense into what you're seeing of this influx of different peoples coming into Thailand and the rights that they should have, and their place in this country and the power of that diversity going forward, that your diverse background that you're coming from makes you a powerful advocate and voice for the different kind of diversity that are coming in different directions.
Yeah, I can see that.
Right. Well, I thank you so much for joining us in this discussion and bringing your expertise to our audience base.
I feel like thank you for inviting me and having me here. I think it's good for people, a group of people, try to communicate with world society to understand, to see the different situation, different eye views or different lens in different situation in another countries, like people from far away from here, they don't even know where is Southeast Asia, right? Where is Thailand, where is Myanmar, but your podcast is like they open their eyes, they open their ears to know different things as they don't know in their daily life. I think it's very important to person or group of people to do like this.
Thank you for taking the time to listen to this episode in full. If you found our guest story of value, please consider taking a further step beyond just being a listener and become an active supporter. Your contributions directly help us to continue to amplify voices from and about Myanmar, create more impactful content, and keep the conversation alive at a time when global attention is fading. Every donation, whether big or small, goes into producing more episodes like this one, sharing untold stories and ensuring they reach those who care. To learn more about how you can support us, visit insightmyanmar.org/donation.
Oba yarananda dayananga yaranaya dayanam boda yaranam